Many recreational players will choose the wrong shot when they're at the net, and the biggest mistake I see at the recreational level is when players attempt to hit an overhead when it's supposed to be a high forehand volley. So in today's video I'm going to show you when you should choose to hit a swing volley, a high forehand volley, or an overhead. So a high forehand volley or a high backhand volley will be struck anywhere from your shoulder all the way to your head, and it's going to be struck with very close proximity to the net. And the way you're going to strike this ball is not with a full swing. This is a very common mistake I see at the recreational level. Players will hit the high forehand volley, for example, almost like an overhead. They will take a full cut swing at the ball, and the chance of missing when you do that is very high. So if you're really close to the net, you can actually swing high to low, and you can put the ball away in this manner. But you have to be very careful that if you're a little bit further away from the net, let's say halfway between the net and the service line, this swing path will not work anymore, and you will often hit the ball into the net. So what you should do instead is have the racket lag slightly behind to get power without taking the racket all the way back. You just lag the tip of the racket behind your hand, and then you're going to swing across and down. And what you should try to do is try to angle the ball off. It works the same way on the back, and you're going to swing high to low, and you should lag the racket behind your hand, and the swing path is going to go across the body and down, something like this. Another thing you should avoid when you're close to the net is taking a swing volley. It simply will not work, because on a swing volley we have to take more of a fuller swing, and we simply do not have time to do this when we're this close to the net. So here's when you should attempt to hit a high volley. Any ball that's going to be between your shoulder and your head, and your positioning is going to be anywhere from the middle between the service line and the net all the way to close to the net. These type of balls should be struck as a high volley. You should avoid hitting an overhead and hitting a swing volley. A swing volley is basically a ground stroke that's taken out of the air, and it can be struck either as a forehand or a backhand. And it's probably wise to avoid hitting backhand swing volleys because they're very difficult to execute. And here's how you're going to hit a swing volley. Basically, you can hit it anywhere from your rib cage all the way to your head. You should avoid taking swing volleys below your rib cage around the waist area, because you're going to have to hit the ball up from that position. It's always wise to hit a swing volley with a straight across the body motion, as something like this. So swing volleys are going to be taken on balls that are going to be very high, and you're going to take the ball while it's dropping down. And you can do it two different ways. You can either do it from a stationary position, or you can do it in transition towards the net. And stationary swing volleys should be taken anywhere from the service line to about half the way between the service line and the baseline. On these same type of balls, do not attempt to hit a high volley. You are too far back. Your swing is not large enough to generate any type of power where you can put the ball away. So with medium height balls, you have to hit a swing volley from this position in the court. And transitional swing volleys can be pretty much taken anywhere in the court, even close to the net. In other words, if somebody pops up a high ball and you are closing off that ball and coming in, you can strike a swing volley pretty much from anywhere in the court. Now the overhead is pretty self-explanatory. It's a shot that's struck above our head, and it can be executed from anywhere that's close to the net, like this, or all the way from the baseline, like this. And what you have to keep in mind that the ball needs to have height. Do not attempt to hit an overhead if the ball is below your head level. As soon as you decide to hit an overhead, you have to turn sideways, and you have to keep your racket in the trophy position. And now remember to strike the ball in a downward fashion, meaning that you want the ball to hit the ground and then exit the court with a very high trajectory. So you have to hit down on it. You also have to remember to execute torso rotation. So as you're accelerating and dropping the racket, you also have to rotate into the contact. The overhead can be struck from a stationary position, or what will happen most of the time, you will actually have to move backwards while executing the overhead. What you should absolutely avoid is hitting an overhead in transition. So let's put this into the context of an actual point. So if we're transitioning from the baseline to the net, we should never attempt to hit an overhead, because a high ball will start to drop very fast, and the timing of an overhead in transition is going to be very difficult, and you're better off selecting to either hit a swing volley in transition or a regular volley. You can, however, select to maybe a ball with really high trajectory to let it bounce and then do a bouncing overhead. And guys, the reason why so many players struggle with shot selection at the net is that they're rushing, they're panicking, they're deciding too quickly what kind of shot to hit. And what you have to realize is that a high ball is going to give you a lot of time to select the correct shot. It's a very non-threatening ball. It's going to be in the air for a while. So don't rush, take your time, select the right shot, and put it away for a winner.